So Piggy has a lot of fan games. Some of them are still going today, and some of them are left abandoned, never to be seen again. Today, I'll be going through the most popular Piggy fan games I could find, from the ones everyone likes to the ones that are completely forgotten, starting with Bunny's Funeral. So Piggy had just ended, and shortly after the true ending was found, Bunny's Funeral was created. A lot of people liked Bunny's character for some reason, and therefore the game was really popular. What's interesting is that it had developers that actually worked for Piggy, like Tenuous Flea, the guy who made all the skins, and Derpy Derby, the guy who made Pig 64. The premise was that you had to do quests. You also got all of the three endings: the main ending, the secret ending, and the true ending, kind of like in Piggy. But the game stopped updating when Piggy got less popular, therefore the game ended up getting less visits. The game currently sits at 70 million visits and hasn't been updated in over 3 years. Now, due to the success of Bunny's Funeral, the same guy who developed it, Derpy Derby, created Doggy's Funeral. He created it under Tide Dirt Productions, whatever that means. Now the game is privated, but from all the videos I could find, it was basically a game where you had to play through Doggy's nightmares. And there were 5 different chapters in total, and Doggy sadly died at the end of it. However, the game met a similar fate as Bunny's Funeral. The game stopped getting new chapters, no new visits, and a very inconveniently private game. Now Derpy Derby went on to develop something else that will be in this video, but meanwhile, let's go look at Accurate Piggy Roleplay. Now Accurate Piggy Roleplay is one of the oldest Piggy fan games that is still somewhat around today. Now remember Tenuous Flea, the guy I talked about earlier? Well, this is the guy that made this game and made all of the skins that are on screen, so that's Billy, Silzus, and Cracks Accordi. It launched in June of 2020 as a game where you could roleplay as your favorite Piggy characters in all the different maps. However, soon after, disaster struck. Suddenly, the game gets taken off of Roblox for no reason. Tenuous also gets hit with a copyright strike and tons of people started copying his game. It all felt as if it was too much to deal with and the game would never come back. However, out of nowhere, on the 1st of January 2021, Accurate Piggy Roleplay The Return was released. The game had an entirely new design and had this guy that you could go up that made roleplaying way easier than the normal game. It's clear that he put a lot of time and effort into this new game, and over the course of the years, he would update the game when new characters and maps drop. Because of this, the game is still currently getting updates to this day. Not only that, but he also made Accurate Piggy Roleplay chapters, each with their own lore and skins, and yes, you can roleplay as them as well. There's been 4 chapters so far, and the final chapter is set to come out soon. So yeah, this game is really easy to roleplay in and has its own gameplay as well. Now, Piggy the Lost Book. Now this one really had the potential to be something great, but it fell at the final hurdle. Piggy the Lost Book was a game made by, who would have guessed it, Derpy Derby and Tide Dirt Productions from earlier. Released on the 15th of May 2021, I believe. The game had 3 modes: open world, the story, and a cutscene creator. Yes, this game had the ability to create your own fully working cutscenes. That is so cool. And clearly Creekcraft thought so too, because he said that parts of the game rivaled Piggy itself. This was back in a time when there weren't too many fan games though. Now fun fact, the cutscene creator is actually the reason this whole YouTube channel started. I created it to store all of the cutscenes I created, and now they're a bit corny now. The developers also said that they would have weekly updates, and they did not disappoint. There were new chapters, more lore, skin quests, and yes, updates to the cutscene creator. It actually felt as if it was better than the actual Piggy games, and that with just more update, it would be one of the best Piggy games we would have ever got. However, when they finished chapter 3, we all patiently waited for the next chapter. We waited, and waited, and waited, but it never came. We had to wait 1 full year just for some teaser trailer, but that's all we got. But near the end of 2022, it was revealed that the reason it took so long was that this game wasn't just a fan game anymore. That's right, Piggy the Lost Book was actually going to be canon to the Piggy storyline. He announced 12 new chapters and a release date of May 2023. It was undoubtedly going to be one of the biggest years in Piggy history. This game would break records. Well, until it didn't, because it actually never came out. Turns out that they made the Lost Book and the canon game completely separate. Now, the canon game that they were actually talking about ended up being Pig 64. And Derpy Derby moved on to Team I2R, where he was the head of all of it until he got replaced by AJ Fry. The game was cancelled when, in his own words, he said Piggy the Lost Book's time was up. Now, Piggy VHS Archives. This game was another example of a game that had potential. This game was supposed to be a reimagining of some of the Piggy storyline with folders instead of chapters. The graphics and animations were really good, if I do say so myself. The game itself was different to the main game. They had Tiger as the main character, who was actually just Zizzy and it was just a mind trick. The game was also, let's say, much more mature than regular Piggy.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, that is...
It was even rated 13 plus on Roblox, which is moderate now. Now the game had 4 tapes when it was out: Refinery, Ship, Sewers, and the extra Dark Friday tape. A lot of popular YouTubers were playing the updates, therefore the game was a massive success. The game managed to amass 3.5 million visits in its time. However, just as the game was doing so well, something happened. The game's owner announced that the game was unfortunately ending, and the description was changed to this: Piggy, the VHS Archives is closed forever now. It was an exciting and fun journey with ups and downs, and while I dislike what the game is today, I'd like to thank you all for following me along for the ride. Now, Piggy, the result of isolation now, I couldn't really find that much information on it. Now, the game basically features an alternate universe of Piggy. You play as Georgie and try to get revenge on Mr. P for what he has done to you. Along the way, however, you get significantly hurt. Yeah, back in the day, I used to get this and Piggy VHS Archives just mixed up for some reason. I actually don't know why. They're completely two separate games. Now, the game did get frequently updated until Chapter 7. You wouldn't expect it to stop at Chapter 7, when the game's creator, JokeMaster77, got banned off of Roblox for some reason, meaning no new updates, no more chapters, and a dead game sitting on Roblox. Now, finally, we have Piggy Branch Realities. Piggy Branch Realities may have just been the biggest fan game alive right now. They got everything right. In June 2022, the game was released as a what-if form of Piggy, kind of like in the multiverse. The first chapter was if Penny stayed behind with Georgie, and later had questions like, what if Doggy never got infected? What if Bunny never took the cure from Mr. P? Etc. The game featured redesigns of everything, and a lot of devs who worked on Piggy worked on this game as well. Therefore, the game absolutely blew up on launch. There were a lot of people playing it. The game went on to have a lot of updates as well. Now, if we've learned anything from this video, it was one thing to have players on release, but another to keep them in. Luckily, the people behind the game were very smart. Therefore, they went on to get skin contests, new chapters, overhauls, and much more. They even added a roleplay feature like Piggy the Lost Book. However, unfortunately, in December 2022, things took a massive change. A lot of the developers of the game stepped down, including the story writer, to pursue other projects. They put up an announcement of it, and it looked like the end of the project was near. Despite this, however, unlike other Piggy fan games, the developers still kept working. They pushed out updates the same as the one before, and pushed out chapters 3, 4, and 5, with Georgie looking like this. Look at that! This game is a great example of what happened if you keep the people that come to your game. Now, those are all the games in this video. If I missed any, and I'm sure I did, please comment them down below. Now, as I said, we're still a small YouTube channel, so any new subs will be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.